Okay, 1 second. I see live is starting. Hi, everyone. So, we're kind of late today. You know how it is when you own a business. But anyways, welcome to the Kim Talk Show. This is my knucklehead husband. I'm just kidding. It's my husband. He's very sweet. Anyways, thank you guys for being here today. I asked my husband to be one of my guests today because I just wanted to talk about, marriage 101 things. And I feel like, more people want to hear about things that go on in a marriage and what to expect and stuff like that. I wish I had known someone that had that type of information for me and him before we actually got married. So, I always ask you guys, where are you from? Drop your location. I want to know where you guys from. So, we're going to go ahead and get started today. And my husband and I are going to talk about some things that we feel, well, at least I feel, about married items, married things, But anyways, if you guys got any questions, feel free to comment and we will go over your question once we see the comments pop up. And go ahead and share this post. We love you guys. But anyway, so marriage. Let's talk about our marriage. So how long have we been married? We've been married 7 years.
You had to think about it?
No, I didn't have to think about it. 7 years, and then December makes 8 years. We've been married that long. And it's not perfect, but it is a wonderful experience to be married to someone you actually love and someone who you actually enjoy doing life with. He gets on my nerves sometimes, but then it's like, you love them and they're just not perfect, but they're just perfect for you, So anyways, in our marriage, I'm the talking one.
You're not quiet.
He's the quiet one. I'm the talking one. I like to talk a lot. That's why I have a talk show. And so the first thing we're going to talk about today is gender roles. And the reason why I feel that we should talk about gender roles is because so many people out here are talking about like what a man should do in a marriage, what a woman should do in a marriage. And we're going to talk about what we feel. So everything today is about how we feel in our opinion. Because this is the Kim Talk Show. Anyways, so babe, I'm going to ask you, how do you feel about gender roles in a marriage? Do you feel that like a woman should have a gender role where they say you're supposed to cook, clean, and wash the dishes and take care of the kids and they don't supposed to work? Do you feel like that's how a marriage should be, or what do you feel?
I think it just kind of depends on how you brought up or how you see it. Because, I grew up in a single family home, so I didn't really have, I guess it wasn't gender roles. So I kind of did how I felt it need when I grew up. So like, I told you when I met you, you didn't have to work. I never said you had to stay at home and, slave in the kitchen and clean up the house and all that. It was just kind of the road that kind of went on. But, as you still, work for the business and still help me do that, you're still in school, and it's not like you just sit at home. The only thing you do is clean up and make sure the house is clean and I haven't cooked cooked dinner or anything like that.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like it's a role. I just feel like it's a teamwork effort when it comes down to different stuff within the house as far as, cooking, cleaning, and those type of aspects.
Yeah, I agree. Only because I see a lot of people on Facebook, they say, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that because that's what the wife's supposed to do, or my husband's supposed to take out the trash. And I see a whole bunch of stuff, and it just kind of makes me feel like, guys, why parents didn't teach people that there are really no gender roles? Because to be honest with you, I didn't really see any gender roles in the Bible. When I was reading over things, I didn't really see anything in the Bible that said the wife must cook and clean. I don't see those things. So sometimes I feel like we as married people, we get so caught up in this society things and Facebook, what Facebook says. So for example, you see people may share a post and you be like, oh, that sounds kind of good. You start to think that I'm just going to believe Facebook instead of believing what's in the Bible or what's really real. I think it depends on how you fit for your family. I don't feel that people should have gender roles in their marriage. I feel that everything is, like you said, a teamwork, an effort, 100%. If people would just look at marriage like it's, a whole like teamwork type marriage, then things will get done together, because I feel like everybody should give 100% effort in a marriage. Yeah. So I only got one viewer, and I don't know who's watching. So whoever's watching, thank you for being here today. And the next thing we're going to talk about is how to communicate in a marriage. That's like one of the topics that most people like, they don't know what to, expect on a marriage. But I would say that communicating is a large word in a marriage. That's one of those words that you feel is kind of hard to do. And in my opinion, I feel that, communication is just something that is kind of like you have to learn, if that makes sense. Because, just like my husband, we didn't grow up in those households where we saw communication effectively. We didn't grow up in those households. So we're still learning how to communicate as well as couples, because when you have communication, then you really have a great marriage, a great foundation. So what do you think about communication? Like, how should communication be done? Like, let's talk about it. Let's talk about communication.
Well, one thing I say, especially with marriage, whether it's beginning, in the middle, and you've been together 50 years, communication is a key factor, and it does take time, and you gotta, the number one thing in communication to me is listening. Because you can't listen, you can't hear the concerns, you can't hear the issues, the problems that need to be resolved, fixed, or worked out or talked out. So if you want to be in a conversation, it go both ways. You got to listen and receive what's been asked or told or said in order to give it back the way that it needs to be, so that way the situation is resolved.
Yeah, because there are also several things that we miss sometimes on our communication part. I feel that if I don't listen to what he's saying, like for example, if I'm on my phone or something, I really need to get off my phone, because there are several times where I may be on my phone and he may be saying something. I missed what he was saying because I was on my phone. I'm just like, yeah, okay. And that's like part of the communication that we need to learn. And so I'm still working on that part, because I'm not perfect. But as long as you're trying in your marriage and you're doing what you need to do to make things better, you don't have a problem and you have a brighter future. So, communication takes a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication. Marriage is a full-time job. It's not just something where you just get married, because I know a lot of people say, oh, it's just a piece of paper. It's not just a piece of paper. It's a commitment. It's a commitment that you committing to, be with one person, love them unconditionally forever, till death do you guys apart, and a lot of people don't understand marriage takes time. It's a lot of work. It's just not overnight process. Communication, I think, is the number one thing in a marriage that people don't understand, that will kill a marriage. It can either make it better, it can make it, bad. You have to have good communication. Like, if y'all gonna have something for dinner, you can't be in your head planning something. You can't be in your head planning something for dinner and you didn't even talk to your spouse about it, because that can cause communication. Or for example, let's just say he is on the phone with his mom and he say, oh yeah, I can go out for dinner with y'all tonight, but he didn't even know what his wife had planned. What he should have said, let me talk to my wife first. Even if it's your mom, let me talk to my wife first and see what she got planned before I say yes. Because that's called communication. Because if he say yeah and she say, well, I already had some planned, and he say, well, I already told her, that makes her feel less of, a wife in a marriage. And women, we want to feel important in our marriage. Am I correct, babe?
Correct.
Yeah, so like we want to feel important, and it's just vice versa for a man. I can't tell my mom, she asked me to come over for dinner. I didn't even ask my husband. I got to ask first. A lot of people feel, I ain't got to ask him nothing. I ain't got to do all that. I'm grown. Yeah, you grown, but you married and you committed to a marriage, and you got to be able to communicate back and forth. Otherwise, it's just going to be a hot disaster, hot mess. So, yeah, that's that communication part in a marriage. Next thing we're gonna talk about is how to care for your spouse. And I know a lot of people like, well, I know how to care for my spouse. I'm just gonna give them sex. That's not how you care for your spouse. I'm just being real. Like, sex is not, just caring for your spouse. That is not the overview of it all. I know all men think with their whatever. You know what I'm talking about. But that's not how you care for your spouse. So, how do you think we should care for our spouse, in all ways?
Well, what I learned in a marriage group at church, the easiest way to figure out the best way to care for your spouse, because everybody's spouse is different, is go take a survey. It's called the 5 love language. You need to learn your spouse love language in order to care for her the way she wants to be cared for. Because everybody has different love languages, whether it's affection, whether it's affirmation, or help me out with it.
I think it's acts of service.
Yeah, acts of service. Words. Sometimes just saying "I love you" is good enough to care for your spouse. And it's 5 of them. I can't think off the top of my head. But just knowing your spouse love language is the best way to care for them, because when you learn that love language, where like for instance, her love language. I don't have my paper for me, so I can't remember off the top of my head. But they say hers is affection. So I can't just constantly just talk and or constantly buy her things, because her love language is affection, which means she needs to be hugged, she needs to be kissed, she needs to be touched. But if hers is I can't remember the one for gifts, I can't think of the name of it. But if it's she need to be showered with gifts, then that means
some people need it.
Just buy her flowers. She want flowers that make her smile. She's happy.
Yeah.
Buy her a teddy bear. Just different stuff like that. But then, like you said, you got the ones that are what's the other one about words?
Words of affirmation?
Words of affirmation. Yeah. So she needs to be told, "Hey, you're beautiful today. Hey, you look good today. I love what you have on." So everybody's spouse love language is different.
Yeah.
And I mean that goes for men or women. So I think as a couple, you should go do the love language survey, figure out which love language best fits you, and then start working towards that. So that way you know each other, how to care for each other in the way that person needs to be cared for.
That is true, because my husband and I, like I said, we've been married 7 years. But when we went to the church, like marriage group, and I think it was last year.
Yeah, last year.
Crazy, because we just found out our love language. I had never heard of love languages before, because when you grow up in a certain household, you're really not gonna know a lot of stuff if it's not like a positive household. So for me, I did not know what a love language was, and unfortunately, I never heard of it. I didn't know what it was. So my husband and I, we were both brand new to things, which is good. We got a chance to learn things together versus him saying, well, I already know, and me not knowing. And my love language was like acts of service, which was like him helping around the house and stuff. And I recently just I just got a new love language, and it's more affection. So I like affection. When I first met him, I didn't have that love language. Now it's changing. So I think you have to continue taking that survey just to make sure that you're meeting those expectations of your spouse, because we never really know how our spouse is feeling if we don't talk to them and communicate and we understand their love language, because everyone is different. So everybody's personality is completely different. But that is a great way that you have shared with everyone about the love languages, because I guarantee there's so many people out there that really don't know about the love languages. They never really heard about it. So, yeah, you guys, y'all need to check that out, the love languages. And if y'all got any questions today, ask us. We like to ask questions. At least I do. Anyways, the next one is, should a woman be submissive to her husband? So what do you think about that? I hear a lot of people on Facebook say, I'm not going to be submissive to a man who's not doing this or doing that, which I agree. A man who's not leading the household the proper way, in the righteous way of God. I don't feel that, it's just my opinion, I don't feel like she should have to follow him, be submissive. It's hard to be submissive to a man who's not, honoring God's word. It's really hard. I don't know. I'm glad I'm submissive to mine, but I know for many women it's probably the same way you don't feel like you should be submissive to your husband because maybe he's not providing the right way, maybe he's not leading the right way. How do you feel about that?
Well, like I said, like once again, marriage and couples are different.
Yeah.
So it kind of depends on like this. I mean, regardless of when you met somebody, they already had a past. So if they pass, then let them be submissive to the other to the husband. They couldn't be because they felt like they still had to be independent.
Yeah.
So until what I'm saying, that does bring in more work for the husband as he come in to show that she can be submissive and she can not feel like she's independent, because a woman gonna be independent until the man shows that he's there, and all she needs to do is take a step back and then be the backbone and not be the front runner.
Yeah, that is true. And women just need to feel, okay, this man is going to be a leader for me. So, they're not going to follow a man if they're not leading the proper way, and it's just how it is. As for me, I really didn't start being submissive until I got married, because he really was a true provider. My husband's always provided from day one, like literally. So, I think for a woman, they have to have someone who's actually leading the proper way. So, the next question, what do you think of the 50-50 method that everybody talks about? They talk about, I think it should be 50. It's like, that's one of the conversations that can be either good or bad. Some of the people, feel like it should be 50-50. There are women out here that feel that way. There are men out here.
I mean, I'll put it like this. It is a touchy subject with the 50-50.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like what we talked about, gender roles. Because like you say, the man shouldn't be working. I mean, the woman shouldn't be at home, just cooking and cleaning, slaving at home. So like, it's a touchy subject. Everybody's household is different. So I guess it depends on how you live in your life and how you are foreseeing your goals to make it to where you are. As far as me and how I handle my household, I feel as if I should be able, whatever I do, I should be able to provide everything on my own. And then if you bring something to the table, it should be extra. Or like, what I'm saying? So that way, if for instance, as a man, as a couple, you say you have a baby or whatever. So the woman gets pregnant, she automatically has to go to the doctor's appointment. So let's just say she has an hourly job. She got to go to the doctor's appointment. She got to go to she got to have the baby. She got to stay out 6 weeks. That's if nothing goes wrong with the baby. So let's just say she's the only one providing, or let's say she's the main provider. Through all those times that she's missing work because of appointments, like I said, she's getting paid hourly, whether that's $30 an hour, $20 an hour. She's missing that time from work, so that takes away from the household because you're letting that, you're on that 50-50 method. So as like I said, on my household, everybody's household is different. So like I said, it depends on what standpoint you at. Because like when we first started, I was in the military, so military kind of took care of everything. Then when I got out the military, it kind of was, I wouldn't say 50-50, maybe 75-25. She was working sometimes, and then I was, taking care of the rest. So like I said, it's a growing thing that has to be grown together. It's, it's not going to be come in and, two people that's already adults and say you 25. I expect both of y'all to already have a job. So I expect it kind of, y'all both got the flow. And then, once y'all get to that one household or start having a family together, then it'll grow to whether somebody has a bigger role than the other. Or, y'all might decide y'all want to do 50-50.
Yeah.
But like as far as my household, I don't feel 50-50 is the best way just for that reason. So like if something happens with the kids, if she got to go home for work, she can go home from work. If it's something major where, your kids start playing sports and they need to be cared about at home for, let's just say, a month. And somebody has to be at home for a month. You can't just leave your kids at home for a month or just say, let me call a nanny or something like that.
Yeah.
More likely the mom got the mama care. She's going to go home and be with the mom, the child for a month.
Yeah.
But who's bringing that extra income because y'all been focus on 50-50. Now you only got 50% of your income, and now you're struggling. So that, like I said, but again, that's just how I see it. Everybody relationship will be different, but it's just something that I think should be sat down in the beginning of the relationship, so that way it's up front, it's on the table, there's no confusion on what you see. So that way, like I say, we've been together 7 years. Let's just say we just now sat down and say, hey, you need to make all the money. I'm gonna sit at home. I don't want to do anything. I'm just gonna take care of the kids. We've been together 7 years. That's 7 years is a lot of time. If I had a whole nother demeanor or thought behind that method, if I wanted to be 50-50, or let's just say I didn't want to work. Let's just say I wanted to be at home. So let's just say I wanted to be, I mean, you hardly ever hear this word, but you do have people that are house husbands. So let's just say I wanted to be a house husband.
There's nothing wrong with it, but,
years. It's been 7 years now, and I'm just now expressing to her like, look, I want to be a house husband now. But that's never was discussed.
Yeah.
So, like I said, everybody relationship gonna be different. So I think it just need to be something that need to be sat down and said at the beginning, so that way if that's what you want to do, if you're comfortable with it, and that's how you want to live the rest of your life. Because like I said, that way if it's done up front, you haven't wasted 7 years of your life.
That is true. People gotta communicate those things. Do you feel like it's 50-50? We want to hear from y'all. What do you think? Does it need to be 50-50? I mean, just like you said, I agree. It should be 100%.
So we got
I saw Kayla. She says, "Hi, family. What are some big struggles that y'all overcame that no one ever wants to discuss and fix?" Let's see. What are some struggles? Because we've got plenty of them. Let's see. What are some struggles off the top of your head?
And no one ever wants to discuss and fix. It's kind of hard to have a struggle that you don't want to fix, especially if you're still together.
Yeah, that's true.
And I mean, you see TV, you hear people's stories on Facebook about, outside kids. In my opinion, I don't have any outside kids before we go that far. let's just go like this. But in my opinion, everything should be able to, if you love that person, to a certain extent, everything should be able to be fixed. It's a lot of different things as far as like I said, having outside kids, cheating, like I said, you being lazy, you're going to spend all the money at the casino, you ain't telling. So it's a lot of problems that can arise, that can put a burden or struggle on a relationship. And I'm gonna use the word relationship because I'm not gonna say everybody here that's listening are marriage, because this works in a relationship because you be in a relationship first in order to get to a marriage. So there's a lot of stuff that can, because this stuff can happen in a relationship.
Yeah.
But you can't let some stuff happen in a relationship and automatically assume, boom, that's gonna be a deal breaker. That's an issue. Because, in my opinion, you only meet your soulmate one time. Yeah. So, it could have been a lot of things, whether I didn't like how her hair looked that day. I didn't like, the first time I met him, he said this, Mm-hmm. But, then y'all start talking a little longer, it's not really, I guess it's kind of hard to answer that question unless you ask me specifically what you mean.
She may be saying what we overcame. She said that y'all overcame, but no one really wants to discuss it.
Can you clarify your question a little bit more so that way I kind of can key in on what you're saying?
It's not understanding it, Kayla.
That's just me. But everybody else might understand. But I'm just, saying, like I said, as me and myself, I don't see, like I said, especially once you've been in a relationship so long. Because I know it's people who been in a relationship 30 years. And then, like you said, it's some stuff they can't overcome. But me, personally, I can't see building a life, whether it's a business, we have a business, 4 kids, we've been together 7 years. It's not really nothing that I can foresee that would, break that apart. For one, you put God first. The bond is held through God. So, you take everything to God and you let Him decide. Mm-hmm. That's just how I feel. So, like I said, if you want to clarify that question a little bit more, go a little more detailed, then maybe I can kind of, if I didn't answer your question.
Yeah, Kayla, do that. So the next question, until she gets her question clarified, do you think kids changes a marriage? if so, do you think that it changes the marriage in a good way, in a positive way, or a little bit of both?
The kids change marriages.
Yeah, because, they say when you have kids, the relationship, the marriage changes. Well, for us, I can say it has changed, but not in a bad way, just more busy.
Yeah. So,
So have
it's just like anything, because
Yeah.
a job can change a marriage. I can go get a job. I ain't gonna say a job. Let's just say you go get a career as a truck driver. That's gonna change your marriage, because when you was together, you was not a truck driver. Now you're gone 24/7. You know what I'm saying? It's all about, once again, how we start out with the whole video, communication. It got to be communicated beforehand. So like I said, if you decide to have kids, it need to be communicated. You know what I'm saying? That, hey, we having a kid, and even if, let's just say it was a pop-up kid, and you wasn't, I ain't gonna say pop-up kid, you wasn't expecting to get pregnant. Let's just say you was using, protection or, birth control, and it just, that day it didn't work. So let's just say you wasn't expecting to have a kid, and you end up pregnant. You got 9 months still to communicate on how we're gonna take care of this kid. Who's gonna do what, you know what I'm saying, as far as, like I said, once again, about the gender role. If she's gonna stay home, or y'all gonna put them in daycare, or y'all gonna put them in private school, you're gonna put them in public school. There's a lot of stuff that need to be talked about in those 9 months, which is plenty enough time for a kid, to discuss that. So I would say kids do change the marriage, because for one, you got an extra mouth to feed. For one, you got somebody else that looks up to you. So now you want to take time to think on how you treat your spouse, because you want to be a role model to your kids. So it will change it, but it's up to the person and the people in the couple to decide whether it be positive or negative, because it can be negative if you're not prepared for the child and you don't try to get prepared, and you just, then you say you can't afford it, or wasn't prepared to take care of a child, or don't know how to take care of a child as your first child. You can easily go, get classes, or, research. Everything is on Google. Don't believe everything on Google, but you can research or look at videos on, like with our last child, Oliver, he has acid reflux. So and he had colic issues. We never dealt with that with other 3 kids. So it was something that we had to research, ask the doctor questions. You know what I'm saying? So it's people out there, and plenty of groups on Facebook, and plenty of groups all over the world that can assist you, whether you're the first time, second time mom. You just gotta go into it and actually communicate with the other person to work it out, to make it become a positive situation. If you wasn't expecting, if you was expecting, you should make it. It should be already positive, because y'all was expecting a child. You should be already been prepared, already had financial things and ready everything to go. So once that child gets here, everything's good to go. But like I said, it was I keep saying pop up, but it was an unexpected child for whatever reason. Then like I said, you got 9 months to figure out, so that way it can be positive for the couple, because no child should destroy anything. Just like any outside person, a stranger shouldn't be able to come in and break something that God has built and put together. So if you are blessed with a child, like I said, that's only something that's going to bring you together closer. So it should be a positive thing, in my opinion.
That is true. For us, it is positive, but for us, like, we had our 4th child, Oliver. We've been working through, like the quality time and the time management. I will say, when you have, like, I would say 2 or more than 2 kids, because when you start to have 3 to 4 kids, that's when you got to work that time management out. Kids will change situations. So like, if y'all go from a marriage that's been together like 1 or 2 years, and boom, you have your kid, all the time that you were spending together, now it revolves around the child. So it will change, but like my husband said, you have to make it into a positive situation if you're truly happy about having that child. So like, if y'all happy, when we had Junior, our first child, we had planned this baby. So, he was planned, and we knew he was coming. We were super excited. Isabella, she just came wherever God wanted her to come, and Spencer, we was already ready for a 3rd child, and Oliver's was more like Bella, like, oh, wow, surprise. Yeah. But, all of our kids was a blessing, but they can definitely change a marriage in a good way if you will allow it to be. if anything like this happened to you guys where you have a surprise baby, you didn't know and you weren't expecting it, the best thing for me is to just treat it as a blessing. Don't ever look at your child like it's a mistake, or just like, because it's not a good thing to think like that, to be honest. And so if you look at it like it's a blessing, and just write down some goals or something for your family. Like right now, my husband and I, we just did like a reschedule for our kids, because we own a business, and it's growing rapidly every day. So we had to kind of go back and say, hey, we need to do this way and this. Cause 4 kids with business and all the other things that we have going on, we had to kind of make time for us. But we also had to make time for our children, because they're in school. We have a 5 and a 6-year-old. One is in kindergarten, one is in first. So, they having tests every day, and then you got study guys over here. It's just chaos in our household, but a good chaos, not like a bad chaos, but we got good chaos going on over here. And God is helping us through this process. We're praying for good management skills with the kids. So we got things going over here. And so we're just like, okay, we need to do this over here, and we need to do this way. And I suggest you guys do the same thing, if something like that happens. Because like I said, kids will change everything. But if you don't really communicate properly when you do start to have more than 1 or 2, 3, 4 kids, you will have chaos. That's not so good.
Yeah. And what I also learned, I think it was just recently, where you have to, it sounds crazy, sometimes you got to make a schedule for yourself. Whether, what I'm saying, let's just say we own a business. Okay, it's I would say it's easier, but it's not, because technically I'm still working in my business until I get workers. So sometimes I might come home at 10 o'clock. She might be asleep. But like days where I'm off, like today, I have to find time to make sure that, hey, look, we're going to set time from 11 to 12, and we're going to spend time together. Now, this happened today. She decided to do a talk show, so I asked why we spend time together, but we're doing a talk show. But, you have to set time, strict time. So let's just say, even if, saying both you guys work 8 to 5, and, you got kids in school, you set that time from, let's say by the time you get home, you eating 6, you get everybody showered and get the kids to bed about 8. And then you still need to set that quality time, bed talk, whatever you want to call it, from 8 to 9. You you gotta get up right the next morning.
Or 20 or 30 minutes.
20 or 30
Anything
minutes
helps.
To talk about
something.
Sometimes you just want to hear, how was your day? You know what I'm saying? And you might, and I know I say at the same time, it was the same old. So it's kind of a little different now when we're on the business, because every day ain't the same. But when I was working a job, I usually I ain't doing no but deliver some coffee, some simple like that. But at that time she was at home, so all she would say, well, I just took care of Spencer and changed diapers. You know what I'm saying? But it's just the conversation, and that conversation might turn to something else, to where you can have a long conversation.
He says, do y'all grocery shop as a family? If so, how do dads grow patience with kids and wife in the store? He's laughing, but my husband, I gotta speak on this one first, babe, because here's the thing, with grocery shopping, I go with my husband. We go as a family. It's rare that you won't see us without each other. The only time that my husband will go in the store by himself is if it's raining, because of the COVID situations when it started, and because I was pregnant, I couldn't walk very much, and I think those are the only issues. Or
no, that's not.
Oh,
no.
Sometimes
she go. I'll go to the store by myself if she don't feel like walking in.
Yeah, that's true.
And she said, "Oh, it's only one item."
If it's one item, you're going in by yourself.
No. This is what happens. It starts out one item. Yeah. Then I get in the store. I get 3 different texts with like 10 more items. So then I walk in with no buggy. Then I gotta go all the way to the front and get the buggy, because But overall, if it's like a grocery shopping day where we'll say we getting groceries for a week, we go in as a family. Yeah. As far as how what was the second part? How do dads grow patience? It's not something you grow. I've been doing this 7 years, and it ain't nothing you grow. It's like it's hard to as a man, It's just like with women, they love shopping. So you know that you tell them to go shopping. What do the men do? They stay at home, or if they go with them, as you walk through the mall, back when we used to go to the mall, you see the man sitting on a bench because the women got to try on everything, you know, and they got to, do this look good? They're not even asking you; they asking the associates at the store because they don't even care what your opinion is at this point, because you're already tired of just walking around looking at this and you saying, oh, well, this made me look big, you know, all this. So as far as patience with the grocery store. Me, I haven't grown it yet. It's just me. It's something.
Groceries.
It's something that I have put up with. So what I do is, this is the best thing for me. I try to get her to write a list. So if I get her to write a list, I hold the list, and then we've been, you know, you go to the same store more times, so you know where everything is. So you kind of speed through the store. You know what I'm saying? Your kids will ask for, hey, can I get this? Can I get that? You know, you grab that and keep on pushing. But if you have a list, you kind of can go through the store real smooth versus, as she would do, let's go up and down every aisle.
Yeah.
My patience is gone after the third aisle because the kids are, can I get this? Can I get that? We need this. And then I used to be like, okay, yeah, we do need ketchup. We need this, the stuff that they like. Then I get home, we got 2 bottles of ketchup. I'm like, we didn't need no ketchup. You know, so, because my son loves ketchup, so that's why I use that example. So as far as growing patience, I haven't grown it. It's more of just finding a way to me to get in and out the store in a quicker way than you already doing. So like if you already have a list, then maybe, you know, I don't know how to make it quicker if you know. But it's to me, having a list or ideal of what we're going in the store and sticking to that is the best way for me to, I guess you can say, have patience to get in and out of the store.
But as a woman, sometimes we forget.
No, he asked
stuff.
about dads.
Well, see, I'm just saying, like,
dads.
I mean, how do dads grow patience? Well, yeah, well.
So
dads can't grow patience.
It's not really growing because, like I said, it's the same way like shopping. Women like to shop. I don't know why they just like being in the stores.
You said it's boring.
Spending money and just.
It's fun to me.
I don't like spending money
I
like
love
that.
it.
So I try to have a list and know what I'm going to get, and I just speed up and through the aisles, you know, and then I try to get to the register.
He does.
Now it sucks when you get to the register, then it's a long line, then you're like, oh, I forgot this. No, we didn't. We didn't forget anything. We got everything in the car. So me, I would suggest you get a list and then kind of you know, not rushing through the store, because then she'll get upset. Well, why you not let me look at them? You know, but kind of have an idea of what you're going to get, and then you say, okay, are you sure this everything? And then you go to the store and you kind of just know what aisles it is and skip those aisles. Once I get hot and start sweating, I get frustrated and nothing makes sense. Yeah, I understand, because no store feels as comfortable as your home. So, like I said, it's one of those things where you just gotta, I guess, woosah before you go in, and just kind of like, and then, you know, kind of take your mind somewhere else to the point where you got to find something that makes you enjoy shopping. So, like, let's just say you like listen to music. Okay, let's just take one headphone in. So you still listen to your wife, so she don't say you're not listening. Take one headphone and you listen to your little music, and you go through the store, so you're not thinking that you actually in the store shopping. So that way, it's something that keeping your mind off. I'm in the store. I've been in the store an hour, and we got 3 things in the buggy, and we still got a whole list of items. So, you know what I'm saying? If the Russian thing like I do kind of don't work, then kind of find something.
It doesn't really work. Only like 50% of the time.
Don't. But find something, whether, you know, if you listen to a motivation thing in your ear, like maybe that will work.
Maybe. Kayla says,
how do y'all feel about women who stay at home and they have a separate account in case things go wrong?
When you say go wrong, were you waiting on your marriage to go wrong, or I mean?
Yeah. So clarify that. Are you saying like go wrong as far as the relationship goes wrong, or saying as far as having a separate account just in case?
Emergency fund.
Like an emergency fund.
Because if you're meant about the marriage part, I wouldn't recommend using that mindset. Don't have that mindset. Never have a mindset to think negatively. Always have the mindset to think everything is positive in your marriage. Because when you think highly of your marriage or relationship, everything will always stand out a positive way. Don't think negatively. Just use a mindset and think so high of your spouse to the point where, you know, they're a great person to you, no matter how many flaws they have. No matter what, just always think positively about that person. Don't you don't need a second account just because things gonna go wrong. Because if something gonna go wrong, then you obviously don't need to be with them.
Well, I'm gonna put it like this, because I kind of get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Where, you know what I'm saying, relationship, I'm not gonna say, because that would be contradicted to what I said earlier. Every relationship in other people's eyes can't be saved on certain things.
Yeah.
So I get what you asking me. You asking like, should you have a account just in case? But see, if you bring that into the relationship,
Yeah.
as far as just in case, it's always gonna be just in case something happened. I got this money to run. So to me, I see that you should not come in with that mindset. Now, if it get towards the point where, say y'all already married, y'all been married 5 years, and let's just say everybody has their, you know what I'm saying, deal breakers where it don't matter what you do, it ain't happening. So like I say, somebody have a child outside of marriage. Let's say somebody cheating, somebody just don't want to work. Then at that point, then, you know what I'm saying, as you start trying to work on it so it does work, then, you know what I'm saying, I see you, okay, let me open up a separate account just in case we can't get this to work. And that way I got a backup plan at the same time. Not a backup plan, but I do have some money saved up, especially if you got kids, because I understand if everything is together, and depending on how the relationship, because let's just say you married a gambler. You didn't know he was a gambler, and he's spending all the money. So you don't want, you know what I'm saying, where you decide to have a, you know, God forbid, a divorce or a breakup, and all the money is gone, and now you gotta wait. Let's just say you get paid every 2 weeks or once a month, and now you gotta wait for the next paycheck for you to move out, or you don't have money saved up to even have a, you know, pay for a deposit. If that makes sense. But like I said, as far as going in the beginning of the relationship, day one, no, I don't think you should say, oh, I'm gonna have a separate account.
Don't have that mindset.
You know, after you get married.
Don't have that mindset.
Women see too much in the stores. They grab what they want.
No.
Yes, they do. Yes. And then they get home and say, this was not that good. You know, because they're always, let's just use an Oreo pop, what is that? Pop Tart.
It's not a pop.
Oreo Pop Tart.
Oreo Pop Tart.
Yes, I just, not you. I'm just using. No, it is an Oreo Pop Tart. I've seen it in the store. So they just say, you just, oh, I love Oreos, I love Pop Tarts. Then they try to put it together and be like, no, that's not
actually
good.
you, babe. I don't try things.
Well,
I'm not a trier.
By this comment, we're not talking about you.
Babe.
But typically, yes, women do. They do grab too much. No, I'm using that example.
Makeup, yeah. And lipstick. Oh, and nail polish.
See, now he's talking about you.
Yeah.
I just use Pop Tart for example. But and as I said, once again, that goes back to, I go in with one thing on the list, and then I come back, oh, can you get some wipes? Can you get some diapers? I need some nail polish. Can I get some nail polish new? I need some mascara. First of all, I don't even know what mascara look like. I don't know what color nail polish you want. You know, then she want this specific brand. Send me a picture. That's about the best thing you do. Send me a picture.
That, and I'm like,
or you gonna have to FaceTime me.
You know what it looks like.
So women do want, you know, they just start picking up everything. But like I said, so that's why sometimes if I can get a list out of her, and let's just say one of the kids is asleep, I say, well, hey, I go to the store by myself, and then, you know, go to the store, I get everything, and then what happens is, cover your ears.
Oh, God. What are you about to say?
Sometimes what I do is, she asks me, are you still in the store? I say no, and I leave. I'm still in the store, but I'm running to the cash register. So she don't, I know you did, but I'm just saying, sometimes I run to the cash register, so she can't add anything else. So sometimes you gotta figure out.
You just told your secret, baby.
So I had to come up with another one now. But just for this purpose, sometimes you do have to get in and out of the store so she don't add anything else. Now she's in the store with you. It's one of those situations. I'll tell you another secret. It's one of those situations. That's the one of the days you just bring cash in and say the list, you know, it's gonna cost you about $100. Only bring in $100. Or maybe 100, maybe 120. No, she don't. Some lady told her a couple years ago, stop bringing your wallet in so you don't have to spend, you don't have to use your money. Even though we got the same account, she said that to her. So she'll bring her wallet in. So like I said, bring in your cash. Make sure she leave her, you know, her wallet in the car. Bring in cash. Say, honey, I only got for this. You know what I'm saying? Then that way, it speeds up the process in the store, and you only get what's on the list. Let's see what's next. How do y'all deal with family members who don't like your spouse's situation? Oh, Lord have mercy.
Kayla, that was a really touchy subject.
Ooh, that's a love.
You already know how we feel about that.
Ooh. That's one of them situations where you are in a relationship with somebody and they're perfect for you. The whole purpose is you in a relationship with that person, not in a relationship with her and her family or him and her family. So it's one of those situations where you can introduce them. If it goes sour, then you be like, all right, cool.
It is what
That's
it
just
is.
gonna be some, some. It is what it is. It's separate. Where you know what I'm saying, but they still would have to be able to tolerate her in order for them to see you. In order for you know what I'm saying, like fancy, y'all got a family event. They're gonna have to be able to tolerate with your spouse in order for to see you. So that way, cause you can't start. It's almost like the accounts. You can't start out saying, "Oh, we're gonna go to this event separate. You go over there. I'm gonna go over here." Or whatever the situation might be, or you stay at home while I go here. I'll be back tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Because it brings in a burden, and then you're not the person that went is not gonna be happy. The person that didn't go is not gonna be happy, and you're just gonna be on the phone either the whole time or texting, mad things because you're upset because y'all didn't go. So it's one of those situations is if they don't like her, as long as you love your spouse or the person you're in a relationship with, that should be enough. You got to find why she's perfect for you. You know what I'm saying? And then grow with that.
Yeah. I mean, a real life situation would be your mom. When we first met, she didn't like me. And unfortunately, a lot of people probably knew that. But it was more like my husband had to understand, okay, I can't just date a person that my mom only likes. Because it may not be someone you actually like or, love. And it probably took her a long time to understand that. And, to this day, we don't have, like, the best relationship, but we have one of those, like you said, tolerating relationships.
Yeah.
Where we just tolerate each other because that's his mom and I'm his wife. So it's kind of like we just tolerate each other. But for that type of situation, you really can't worry about who don't like them. Because, like, if somebody in my family don't like my husband, I really don't care. I love him. He's mine. And I wouldn't let anyone disrespect him, and it's vice versa. It's just all about respect. It's a respect level.
Then we got, what do you all think about fully trusting your spouse? Now,
if you can't
quick question about that. When you say trusting them, are you saying trust them with money, trusting them as far as being the one you want to be with?
I think it's all. You should be able to trust them with money.
I'm saying I'm trying to clarify that question when you say fully trusting your spouse. What do you trust them with? Are you saying trust them like being with them, trust them with money, trust them with taking care of your child?
I think a trust, like, how people say you have to have trust in your relationship, marriage. You got to have trust on all levels.
Well, if you're gonna do all levels,
because you trust them with your children, you trust them with your heart, you trust them with your car, your bank account, everything.
Well, I'm gonna say, in my opinion, as far as trusting your spouse on all levels, it's not something that I'm gonna say on day one you're gonna have, because like I said, once again, it's gonna depend on your past. But after a while, they should have been able to show you that they're able to be trusted. Mm-hmm. Whether, like I said, whether it's taking care of the bills, whether it's taking care of the child, whether it's taking care of the household, whether it's I'm eventually marry you, or whether I can go to the store and you gotta worry about me talking to another the opposite sex or whatever, or talking to and being gone or going out with a friend.
Build that up.
It has to be built.
Yeah.
But in order for it to be fully trusted, it has to be shown and want it to be fully trusted.
You can't do one thing and expect them to trust you. For example, you can't flirt with girls in the store and want them to fully trust you that you will never cheat. Well, we don't know that because you flirt all the time. How does she know? Even if you say, well, I'm just flirtatious. Well, see, when you get married or when you looking to prosper to get married, you have to change your ways. Because you have to grow into a married woman, a married man. You can't just be like, oh, I'm a married woman. I'm marriage material. You don't know if you're not using your actions. That stuff has to be built, like you said.
Yeah.
Like for us.
Because I mean, when I met her, she had a past.
I did.
So, I didn't understand that at the time. Because like I said, for one, we was like 18, 19, somewhere around there. I don't remember how old we was. But we was young. So for me to come into a relationship not having trust, I didn't understand that, because the way I operated was, if it's in the past, it's in the past. It's a whole new person. That's just like, it's a new job. It's a new job. I'm not thinking, oh, I need to worry about what the last manager did to me. You know what I'm saying? I go in with a fresh start. She didn't look at it like that. She had her past, so she had her guard up. So it took me time to build her trust. Not saying because I'm saying relationship 7 years, you know what I'm saying? I might have did something to break that trust, but it had to get rebuilt. But you had to understand it does take time to build that trust thing. But it ain't something that you can continue to keep breaking.
It has to be reputable.
Yeah,
like,
if you continue to keep breaking the trust, then I understand it's hard to
have trust.
fulfill. I can't even think of the word. Fulfill. I mean, no, totally trust your spouse, but you have to at least have the ability to want to, or feel that it's a way for them to be fully trusted for you guys to be together. Because if not, it's gonna be hard to be together. Because you always, like I said, whether it's money, whether it's taking care of you or taking care of kids, whatever the fully trust or whatever the trust that's lacking, you're never gonna be able to fully have joy in the relationship, because you always gonna have that in your mind,
back of your mind,
that I can't trust him with this, I can't trust him with my car, I can't trust him with my
you let
with my car,
you let your child
I can't trust him with my child, I can't trust him. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody make mistakes, so you have to. For one, the person that had the mistake has to grow from that mistake, but you have to be willing to let them grow from the mistake, understand they made a mistake, and work on trusting that they will earn that trust back. Now, like I said, if it continues to happen, then that's something that, once again, how we started the conversation off, needs to communicate, so that way that person knows how to gain your trust back in order to have that 100% trust again. And then, like I said, y'all grow from them. But like I said, once again, that's something that can't be built, like, especially for the same thing. You know what I'm saying? You can't just break the trust and then go back and I need you to do this so for me to trust you. Oh, I trust you now. And then boom, you break it again. So I understand if you can't fully trust somebody that keep breaking the same thing, but at the same time, at least explain what's the issue, communicate. Like I said,
you have to listen too.
I mean, sometimes you just gotta sit down at the table, or you know what I'm saying. Even though we sitting at a desk right now, you turn to each other, turn your phones off. Whoever calls. I mean, we do it even with us on the business, and most time my phone ringing, it's a customer. But you turn that phone off, turn it on silent, whatever, and you just talk it out to understand what's the issue.
Yeah.
So that way you can grow on it. You know what I'm saying? But it's not an overnight process. For one, you gotta be willing to wait for that to happen. You gotta be willing to. The other person gotta be willing to take heed of what they're hearing and grow, and and also give you that small inch of trust that that you can believe they are trying to work on it and do better. It's not an overnight process at all. So because it's crazy. It ain't an overnight process. Like, I mean, it's a small things. Like, you know what I'm saying. With me, I got in the military. I had like a sleeping problem, so I used to always go to sleep. You know what I'm saying. It might be 7 o'clock. Lay down in the bed, I'm going to sleep. So like, it was a trust thing. Like, she like, how can I know if I go out with the girls, or if I like when she went to the hospital to have our other kids, she's like, well, how do I know you're not gonna not hear Spencer if he sleep? And I'm like, I got you. You know what I'm saying? So like leading up to the time that she knew she had to go to the hospital, I had to kind of show her so that way she had the trust. It wasn't a full trust thing at that time, but it was enough for her to be like, okay, I don't have to call my mama to come over here because you might not sleep, might wake up with Spencer. So it's always a building thing, and it's always gonna be building blocks in the relationship throughout the marriage, because like I said, something that small, you know what I'm saying, but it's something so big to her. I was like, man, I ain't gonna do, I'm gonna sleep, but it's something big. So okay, you were talking about a emergency fund. So yeah, that's something. But I wouldn't say it should be separate though. I wouldn't say, like I said, unless you're talking about emergency fund, if the marriage don't work out, the marriage start going sour, unless you're talking about emergency fund for you to have a getaway plan, I wouldn't see you having a separate emergency fund for together.
For nothing, really.
Because, like for instance, let's just say we got an account together. So let's just say we have an emergency fund. It's gonna be together, you know what I'm saying? But it's gonna have to be strict guidelines, and that kind of question are kind of going together. So it kind of, the emergency fund, that's kind of like the trust level. So I guess what you're saying, if you don't fully trust your spouse with that emergency fund, because like I said, I'm using a gambler because it's easy to say gambler. and they have a gambling problem, so you got a emergency fund set aside, but they don't know about
now
emergency
that
fund.
may be
So
okay to do until they figure out their gambling issues.
Yeah.
But
So,
not just if that person have no
issue.
You have no reason.
Then they should kind of know that you got a they should know that y'all have a emergency fund together.
You like hiding things from them.
That way, for one, they got access to it. But at the same time, what I say as far as relationship goes and marriage goes, if you got a emergency fund, it need to be strictly wrote out on what you want what the emergency fund can be used for, what is considered emergency. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people emergency fund is different. You know what I'm saying? So let's just say
my hair ugly.
My hair ugly.
Get it done.
You ain't got that's not in my budget for this week.
Yeah.
Oh well, we got money in the emergency fund. You gotta sit there strict. That's not a technical emergency, especially on the husband part. They're gonna be like, that's not considered emergency.
And it's not.
Emergency is for if the car break down. And I need a new motor,
and I can't afford the part.
I need a new motor because I don't get paid the next week. But you know what I'm saying. So it has to be, to me, strictly wrote out what that emergency fund for. Like I said, unless it's the emergency fund for, like I said,
it could be
the relationship going sour when you got emergency fund.
A bill came out. Maybe you had the AC on too much that month and it's like over. Now you need the emergency fund to keep your lights on or something like that.
Which goes back to communication.
Yeah, the communication.
Because like I said, let's just say y'all didn't write that down saying, because say you normally have your bills already paid for. So that emergency fund didn't say, oh, we can use it for bills.
Y'all gonna start arguing.
You need to communicate and say, hey, I think this bill was an extra $200 because we had a leak or whatever. Or I need to pay the plumber. And you say, okay, well, we're going to use the emergency fund. We're going to get paid next week. We're going to put that $200 back in the emergency fund. Whatever the situation is, like I said. So I think you should have an emergency fund, but it should be together. If you guys are married. And like I said, if it's going sour or something like that, and you not sure if it's going to work out, then have an emergency fund for that purpose. But once if you fix the relationship, then you say, hey, look, I got an emergency fund. It's something as far as building trust too, if that happens.
She said, or what if the spouse passes away without life insurance or the things to help ensure your family is good?
See, I'm gonna put it like this, and that's a good one because we just kind of matured for that too, as far as life insurance. So if you're gonna have I'm gonna put it like this. Let's go back since you asking the same question. So if you got an emergency fund. If you got money to put in an emergency fund,
you got money.
You should be having money for life insurance. Whether let's just say it's $250,000. You know what I'm saying? It's just everybody's lifestyle is different. So, like for some people, $250,000 would work, and bearing their spouse and keeping them afloat for a month or two. Or some people can last on a year off of it, or they can they still working so they can pay the
household.
So it depends on your household. Mm-hmm. So I would say that's something else, once again, that you need to look at and write down communicate with each other to see why you're not having life insurance where, you're the beneficiary to pay for that. Because like I said, having an emergency fund strictly
for their burial is
pointless.
It's pointless you can afford the life insurance.
Yeah, if you can afford the life insurance. Yeah. Because I feel like if you putting back something, you should be able to get the life insurance. Whether like for us, we started out, I think as low as $100,000 per each person. You know what I'm saying? Right now we're working on trying to get like $1 million. You know what I'm saying? So and I think mine's
yours is gonna be probably more than $1 million.
Yeah, it'll be more than $1 million.
Because it goes by your household, like you said, it goes by how your household is structured. Ours is structured that we need that $1 million because it goes by how your family is living, what's going on in your household. So you should definitely consult with a life insurance advisor to get you some life insurance rather than have an emergency funding account. Because an emergency fund account, we know you're not gonna get up to like maybe $200,000.
Yeah. Now, like I said, you hit the lotto and you want to put an emergency fund up and say, hey, here go $100,000. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because let's just say the reason I'm gonna put it like this. Mm-hmm. The reason I said if in that aspect, what you talking about, where I have life insurance. Let's just say you putting $100 a week back, and you start your emergency fund, and let's just say, I say God forbid all the time. Let's just say in 2 months that person died that didn't have life insurance, and you put $100 a week. That's roughly $800 for those 2 months. $800 is not gonna bury that person, but you could have been paid $100 a month for those 2 months.
Yeah,
and
for life
then you could have had at least $100,000 or more that you would have got to pay for.
And kept the rest of your money.
And then you still got, you know what I'm saying, money for you to you know, to live off of, to be able to I think our life should say grieve happily, but you're not gonna grieve happily. You know, it was just. I think what she.
Our financial advisor said that if we have life insurance enough for where it could cover our expenses and our life for maybe a couple years, or for us to, you know, live on, we could grieve the proper way versus I'm having to worry about Steven's burial insurance.
But she also got to find
the way to
job.
take care for the kids, find a job, and you know, all this other stuff. If we get our life together now, we won't have to worry about it when the time comes for God wants us to come home, you know, and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, it do happen a lot where, you know, spouses don't have you know, they don't have the life insurance, but like I said, it's one of those things also that should be sat down and communicated at some point in a relationship, because like I said, you know, you can put back at your driveway and, you know what I'm saying, or be walking in your neighborhood and something happen to you, God forbid, but you know, so it's something that does need to be sat down at some point. It's a mature level to sit down and understand you're not here forever. And at the end of the day, and this kind of, I tell you how my financial advisor laid it on me. At some point, you gotta want to be able to make sure, even though you're dead, you know what I'm saying. So your feelings are gone, but you want to know why you're living, that you do have something set up for one, not your spouse, but for two, your kids too. You know what I'm saying. You want to make sure, because let's just say we're driving, and you know what I'm saying, we are on a date or whatever, and our kids are somewhere else, and something happens to us. You want to make sure that's set up where they're taken care of and not worrying like, dang, because like my kids in private school, you don't want to be like, dang, my kids got to come out of private school because whoever I left my kids to don't have the means to keep them in private school. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's now speaking of that on life insurance, another thing is also is having a will set up too. Since we going down that road, you need, and I mean we working on all this, so I'm not saying we perfect. We just not getting all this taken care of now. Yeah. But you need to have a will set up so that way your kids go who you want to, and not who has the most money. You need to go, you know, who decides they want them. You know, that's something else that need to be set up with, because the couple can die at one time, and then you got one child, the child still there, the child still living. You need to know who you want to leave that child to. Like, and I'm only telling y'all this because, boy, when we went to set out the will, we was like, who you leaving our child with?
Yeah, who we leaving our child with.
You know what I'm saying? So you need to know who you leave your child with. You need to know how that life insurance, if it's already set up, if it's not, you need to get it set up. How are you gonna leave that life insurance set up with? Or who, you know what I'm saying? Let's just say, oh, you don't believe in life insurance. You should, but let's just say you don't, and you want to go back to the emergency fund. You decide that who is control of that account. That account got to have a beneficiary too. Because let's just say you're a millionaire, but you don't have life insurance. That $1 million still need to go somewhere. Or, you know, the government is going to disperse the money how they want to. You know what I'm saying? And your kids might not see a dime of it. You know what I'm saying? Or your spouse might not get a dime of it because you didn't have that properly set up. Or you might say, you know what I'm saying, you own a house. And nowhere on that, because you met your spouse afterwards, you know, none of that was updated. So now that house goes back to the bank, and your kids got to move out the house because, or they got to go through so many court and get lawyers, and if they ain't got the money for lawyers, then they ain't gonna be able to do it. But they got to get lawyers and go to court and just fight for the house because you own the house. But just because you own it don't mean that it was yours. Yeah. A few more questions before we get out of here. Let's see. How do you work on the courage to take your child out or letting family come around, knowing if anything happens to your child, and any parent will feel guilty with COVID going on? Yeah. We
don't take our kids around family events too often because it's our choice. They're your children. You make your choices. They're your children. Nobody can get mad.
You as a parent, are responsible for your child. So I'm gonna put it like this: we take our kids around certain family members. I'm gonna put it like that. And I'm not saying that because I know all my family is on my page, on her page. It's not like, oh, we say, oh, we don't pick boom, 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 boom. You know what I'm saying? They go around people who they always are around. Yeah. But at the same time, it is a step back point because let's just say you always around a certain person. But let's just say at some point during this whole COVID situation these last 2 years, you realize, oh, they like to start having parties at their house. I don't care, you know what I'm saying, mama, sister, cousin, brother, if you know, you the best auntie, ex, because you having parties with other people because whatever situation is.
You don't care
I gotta care for my child and understand, boom, I don't want to protect her. You know what I'm saying? So like for instance, even we just came back from vacation as a parent. I knew I'm going on vacation. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, we vaccinated, but our kids not. So let's just say, as us going out having fun, I want them to have fun, but hey, we're gonna still wear masks. We still gonna, you know, keep our distance. We're gonna wash our hands. Soon as we get in the truck, we're gonna have, you know, we walk around with hands sometimes. So, you know what I'm saying? It's a touchy subject. It's a weird thing because nobody knew COVID. You know what I'm saying? It's like a weird thing. Everybody has their own beliefs on COVID and how it should be handled and what you should believe in and what you should do to prevent from happening or if you should think it's gonna happen. You as a person and as a parent, you have to decide what you believe in with COVID and what you feel is the right steps to take for your child. If you feel as you need to live in a bubble, live in your bubble. If you feel like you want to go out and have a party, by all means go have a party. But you can't get upset if that other person that wants to stay at home is not bringing their child up. So like I said, if you are the one that wants to stay at home with your child, stay at home with your child. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, when we first happened, I'm just be like this. I didn't believe in it, you know. So I didn't wear a mask. But at the same time, as a parent, that was my choice. I couldn't make that choice for my kids. So my kids stayed at home. Do you know what I'm saying? Because they was already out of school, so they wasn't going nowhere. And I mean, it was hard to have my, you know, like I said, we had what, three? Two?
You had
no,
three.
We had two. Spencer was, you were pregnant with Spencer. We had two kids. And they wanted to go out, and they was like, we just came back from the beach. So they was like, I want to go back to the beach. I want to go back to school. They didn't understand why we the only ones at home, why I can't see anybody. They didn't understand that. But as a parent, they wanted to go, I mean, as a child, they still wanted to go to the store. They were, why we can't go to the store? I went to the store. They never went to the store. For one, she was pregnant as well. Yeah. So that's something, like I said, as a parent, you got to make a decision, and that got to be your decision, and you cannot feel bad about your decision. You know what I'm saying? And now at the same time, let's, you know, as a couple, that's something, again, that y'all need to decide together. You know what I'm saying? Because if y'all feel differently, then y'all got to figure out a way to make common ground. So let's just say one person say no, one person say yes. Well, you know, you got to come up with a compromise. Whether you say, all right, we're going to go, but they're going to have gloves on, they're going to have a mask on, 2 masks on, and, you know, we still going to stay 6 feet apart. No hugging, no touching. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You might say, well, ain't no point of going. But you still made a compromise to go. So you had to work at it together if y'all have different beliefs on it. You know what I'm saying? So, but at the same time, you know, as a parent, you're responsible for that child. So you make your decision. Well, you guys make the decisions. Since we talking about couples. You make the decision and do it like that. For me, asking about emergency fund or not liking, for me, what we're going on?
You don't like your spouse?
For me, asking about emergency fund.
Or not liking this.
Nah, he was. I think he was adding on to his question about taking the kids around. He wasn't talking about what you were talking about, the first fund, emergency fund, or the not liking the spot. Nah, he was adding on to what he was saying about with COVID going on and bring your child around family.
Gotcha. All right, so we're going to get ready to wrap this up. And so what are some positive tips that we both could just give to them, you know, a couple of them, and so they could take
one thing I would say is, like I said, for one, make sure you go do the love language. That's the number one thing to do.
Love language.
And then just communicate. If you communicate, I learned if you communicate, then you'll keep, it was just, okay, yeah. Like I said, he answered you, that's talking to her. But communicate, that's the main thing. If I would have learned to communicate beginning of these 7 years, boy, I would be so far than where I am now. And then also listening, because it's stuff that I'm doing now, and I'm using my business for example. It's stuff that I'm doing now in my business that my wife told me a long time ago. So I could have been somewhere ahead of time, and I had to learn and take pride step back with the pride thing, because men have pride and not think, oh nah, you don't know what's going on, you're not right. And I had to learn that, I had to humble myself that, God sent the person to be here with you for a reason. So listen to them and take heed to what they're saying, because God speaks to you through people. So don't just disown or demean what that person is saying. That's vice versa, because the man can be telling you something too. Let's just say you on a beauty salon. Just because that man is a man, he might know, hey, you should open up your beauty salon at this time, and you should charge this much because you taking too much time to do. Listen to what the other person had to say. Take heed to it, because like I said, God send messages through other people, and he gonna send it through the spouse before he sends it through a stranger. But you know what I'm saying? Communicate, listen. The main thing is listening to the other person's concerns, or listen to what they're saying, because I promise you, you'll be so better off, and you probably be so much further than where you at right now. I know I would have if I would have listened a long time ago. So I would just say communicate, learn your the love language of your spouse. Sit down and just talk about things. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody have different issues, and it's a healthy way of arguing. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people say argument. Oh, you in an argument? I don't. And they clam up. It's a healthy way to do it.
Healthy
sit down
arguments.
and talk. You know what I'm saying? No yelling, no distractions. Just sit down and just talk it out and figure out and come up with a solution. Now, I'm gonna tell you this too before we go. You might not come up with a solution that first time you sit down, but at least lay it out. If it gets to the point where you feel like it's going south and it's getting to a heated argument, you say, one of y'all have to be the bigger person. Say, hey, look, this is not going the way we need to. Let's revisit this in an hour, or let's revisit this tomorrow. Let's sit down again and revisit tomorrow. That way y'all both have time to clear out, and that give you time to figure out, okay, somebody said something wrong that made the other person mad. I shouldn't have said it that way. You know what I'm saying? So communicate, sit down with one of each other, spend quality time, learn the love language, and just love life. Find why that person is special to you. Find why that person is perfect for you. She's not perfect, he's not perfect for everybody else. He perfect for you because you decided that that's the person you want to spend the rest of your life with. Find out why that person is perfect for you, and everything will be great.
Yep, and some tips for me would be pray together. First and foremost, always pray for your spouse, because when you pray for them, God will change things and continue to make things happen for you guys in a positive way. He will never hurt you. He will always give you an abundance of life. So do that. I have learned to send cute little texts to my husband. I've learned to brighten his day. Regardless of any situation, I try my best to stay positive for us, so staying positive is the biggest thing in a marriage. Y'all have to stay positive together. If he's not positive today, you have to be his backbone, and vice versa, you be her backbone. So I hope you guys learned something from the Abrams today.
And I'm gonna say one last thing.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna tell y'all this too. I don't know every Bible verse. I might not say it the way that it's said, but you can do all things that Christ strengthens you. So we can do it. You can do it. Y'all have a blessed day.
All right. Thank you guys for being here, and I hope you guys learned something from us today. And we love you guys. Have a wonderful, amazing Friday.